All right, people. So our first review of the day is going to be for the film Spinal Tap II, The End Continues. This is a
Electric
sequel.
Boogaloo.
Yeah, Electric Boogaloo there. This is the 41 year later sequel to the first Spinal Tap movie. This is Spinal Tap, which came out in 1984. We did a retro review for it. I did it with a special guest Conan Neutron there, part of Movie Night Extravaganza, and we had a blast reviewing it. Looking at this older movie there, all the jokes, all the references in it. It being this mockumentary style, they're commentating on music at the time and all these rock documentaries, all these big extravagant bands that were doing all these elaborate sets and everything like that. We had just really a blast talking about it. And we did it obviously in preparation for this sequel that's going to be coming out. And is this movie, all these years later, do the same people, because you had all the people returning, they're all still alive 41 years later.
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah, most of them are still alive there. I mean, there's some other people they talk about who couldn't make it back for the sequel. They do mention like, oh, this is the daughter of so and so, or this is the person there. But for the most part, the main crew there all return. You have Christopher Guest who comes back as Nigel. You got Michael McKean who comes back as David, and you have Harry Shearer comes back as Derek Smalls there. And then they're coming back. So in this sequel, what happens is obviously they're much older. They've all kind of mostly moved on from being musicians now. They all have these regular kind of weird side jobs. Nigel makes cheese, and you have Harry who runs like an antique shop for, what was it? It was like glue and shit.
Museum
like that.
of Glue.
Museum of Glue. So they all do these weird kind of strange.
Oh, he also performs in a Philharmonic orchestra about toupees.
So he also does that.
Hell toupee.
So he also does that. So then it comes out that, hey, they're gonna do a big reunion tour. They're gonna do
It's
this
in the
big
contract.
It's in the contract, so they give an excuse of why they have to bring all these people back together. And they establish that a lot of these people, they haven't talked to each other in numerous decades there. So this is going to be the first time they've seen each other in many, many years. And what is that going to be like? There's some tension between Nigel and David. And how is that all going to work out? In the midst of them getting prepared for this new tour, of course, they need a drummer. Their drummer died, as typically happened a lot during their days. So they're also on a quest for that. So Dusk, what are your thoughts 41 years later, this sequel? Spinal Tap II, The End Continues.
I thought it was okay. It's not as, the original This is Spinal Tap is one of the funniest, underrated mockumentaries ever made. It was one of Rob Reiner's earliest movies, if not his first, if I can recall. He had been an actor famously in All in the Family as a meathead, as the son-in-law to Archie Bunker. He's directed some of my favorite films of all time, including The Princess Bride, which is one of the best fantasy comedy movies ever made. And he returns 40-something years later to do this. And my first question is, why? After all these years, you have established a huge classic that everyone in the rock community, everyone in the wide world who's watched it quotes constantly. The goes up to 11 joke, it was so prevalent that every single person in rock mentions that. But it goes to 11. Every single one has seen, anyone who's interested in music has watched This is Spinal Tap, even a little bit. It is absolutely brilliant in how understated its comedy is, and also being a documentary at that time and making fun of those, but also having some heart, but also just being completely off its rocker at the same time and making fun of itself and being ridiculous while trying to take itself seriously. It's a lightning in a bottle. So trying to recapture that 40-something years later is going to be extremely difficult already off the bat. So to ask that all these years later for a sequel, well, you must have one hell of an idea for a sequel. And that's just it. it's just it's just not it's not a bad movie, but it's just the premise is very terribly simple. Got to get the band back together. We have to do one more show. Why? Because it's in a contract during a loophole. Okay. We had a falling out. Okay. Are we ever going to really address that fully? Kind of. How much is that going to affect us when the truth comes out? For about 10 minutes, less than that maybe, and then it's
Mm.
resolved. Oh, all right, time to run the show.
Um, yeah, I mean, so I'll just say right off the bat,
Yeah.
it's not as good as the first Spinal Tap movie,
No.
right? I mean,
It
you
never
know,
was going to be.
that's a hard act to follow.
Exactly.
It's one of the greatest comedies ever. It's
Mhm.
one of the greatest mockumentaries ever. Like you said, and even the guest Conan, who I had on the show, he's a musician and he talked about that as well. Your point of this is the musician's movie of all musicians. People in rock bands quote Spinal Tap and know Spinal Tap like the back of their hand and have seen it. It's like required viewing
Yeah.
for musicians there. So it just was like this big love letter to that. And then in the sequel, and we even speculated like, what would the sequel be about?
Yeah.
What will it commentate on all these years later? Like what's going on in modern day music that you
Right.
could really make something out of? And I think it doesn't really capitalize on any of that kind of
No,
stuff.
it
Like,
doesn't
okay,
even try.
it does a reunion thing of like, okay, old band that it comes back to do a reunion,
Mhm.
like we see a lot of bands do, like Rolling Stones or Zeppelin or whoever you want to
They
name.
could have made a really great they do it. There's a brief moment where I thought the movie was gonna go in this direction. I thought, "Oh, that's actually pretty brilliant." There's this 40, 30 years later, we wanna dig up these characters and people. We wanna do this thing together and try and recapture the magic many, many, many years later. And they kinda commented on it a little bit. There's a few moments they comment on it, but there's one specific scene where they really go into it and talk about it. And I'm like, "Oh, are they gonna make fun of that's the kind of movie that they're making an overly, like, almost, sympathetic and nostalgia baiting kind of, mockumentary, and it's like, "Oh, this we're cherished old friends, and we've seen all of this," and it's just hidden under the surface, and they're making fun of all that, and it's like, "No, this movie is it's too it feels too earnest in what it is. It doesn't feel clever enough to do that." And so what I thought would have been, "Oh, this is a great commentary," goes, "No, they're just playing this straight."
Mm. And I mean, the people in this movie, I mean, that are these characters,
I mean, I love
um,
to see them.
love to see them, and they love playing these characters. Like they will
They're
play
actually
them,
talented singers.
yeah. And then all of them actually play music and sing in real life, and so that's all them singing and
Yeah.
playing the instruments. And you'll see they'll play the characters even outside of a movie, like when they do interviews, and they've done that for many, many
Oh,
years.
yeah. You could make
Yeah.
it would actually been better if they made a compilation of all the different interviews that they ever did and released it as "This is Spinal Tap, the end continues." And it's just
Mm.
them throughout the years and all their different things, all the different interviews.
Oh yeah, that
That would
would
have been
have
more interesting.
because they do some great interviews in
Oh, yeah, they
character and
do. I would watch
um
it.
yeah, so that's I mean, I think that's really great. So I don't think it's a sequel that doesn't have lack of passion, I don't think, because I
Right.
think they still like playing the
Oh,
characters,
it's very clear they do.
but I just don't think there's really any ideas here that are really worth a whole
The
movie.
Yeah. The biggest problem with this movie is it doesn't have bite.
Mm,
The original one was making fun of, but there was a definite love and passion for music. There was a love and passion for the rock scene. There was a love and passion for that aspect, both from the actors playing the characters, being also musicians in their own right, being talented in their own right, but also having the right actors, the right comedians at that time, the people there, the character actors, and Rob Reiner being fresh faced and off of being in television and also being interested in the rock scene. And it was lightning in a bottle. All these people worked on this together. And because Rob Reiner had a little bit of cynicism and he wanted to throw that in, but he still cared, and you could see there was bite. There was still bite and pushing back and fighting, and they wanted to. It was almost kind of like rocky and rebellious, but it was also making fun of itself, and it knew what it was making fun of. But it was also like very good because these people were in that world and they liked it, but they also understood its flaws and were making fun of it. This is like if if you took all the teeth away, and it's
Mhm.
just, oh, we're gonna play, and oh yeah, it's great being here. It's great seeing everybody together, and oh yeah, of course, and I make cheese, and like, don't get me wrong, the cheese joke is funny. At and then even there's another scene with the guitar and cheese, and I'm like, okay, sure, it's a little
Mm.
absurd, but you know what, why not? But I just like, what's the point? Like,
And
what's the point of us being here?
and I mean, the jokes there, I mean, they're chuckle worthy. I mean, there's some
Yeah.
things that did make me chuckle, and I was like, "Oh, okay, hey, that's pretty decent," you know? Like, there's a moment where they're trying to recruit members of to be their drummer, and
Oh
they,
yeah.
have this, cameo fest of all these famous drummers like Questlove and, the
Red
drummer
Hot Chili Peppers,
from, Red Hot Chili Peppers there,
Metallica.
um yeah, and the drummer from Metallica, they got there as well. So they have all these, and then one of the drummers is talking to the daughter of the person that was their old I think PR person there. And she says, "Well, how's your dad? And is he happy or is he up?" And then you have Derek Smalls who comes in and says, "No, he's more on the down since he's dead." And I just thought, that was like a chuckle worthy kind of moment
Yeah, it's
there.
like,
And there's
okay, that's
some
pretty
stuff
good.
like that in the movie, that's just kind of quick and kind of comes by. Or when they're talking about them not being in the Hall of Fame, and then they said they just got a letter in the mail that just said "fuck off" on it.
Yeah.
Like, just like kind of little stuff like that. It's kind of funny, but other than that, it's like I mean, none of the jokes are as you. I don't think you're not going to be none of the jokes as memorable here in this as it was in the first Spinal Tap,
No.
which is a thing. Um,
And it's a
yeah.
shame. It's a crying shame because there's clearly passion here. But again, there's it just feels like a bunch of old men shuffling around or just kind of sitting most of the time and just kind of being these kind of older versions of these characters. And not that I don't mind them there, but there's a lack of energy almost. And I mean, you can't help it. You can't help it. You're filming characters many, many years later, but there's like parts where you're like, okay, yeah, it's hilarious. There's no moment where they're at an airline and the troubles of going to the airline and traveling, and then that scene with the metal detector. There's no
Mm,
moments where small little moments in the everyday thing of them being a rock band. That was the thing. It was you were watching a day in the life of a rock band as they're going to venue, to smaller venues to smaller venues, and it's spiraling. With
mm,
this, it's like we got one day. Oh, okay. Whereas,
yeah.
like, just to get there, Mr. Frodo, just to get there, all the different crazy things that happens, it's like they're there. They hardly take advantage of the where they're at, which is in Louisiana. And
Mm,
aside from like a few things, the place, they could have been anywhere, honestly. It
mm,
wouldn't have mattered. Uh they really only are there for like a couple of like chuckle worthy moments. I mean, I do appreciate in the very and this is it's so quick. I almost blinked and missed it. There is a Rob Reiner introduces himself and is like, "Oh, I'm back, and I haven't made a documentary because I've been unable to get Hollywood work since I made the first film." And he's currently teaching at the Edwood School of Cinematic Arts. That's funny. I was like, "Oh, but that's like a chuckle worthy if you even know who Ed Wood is."
mm,
Ed
yeah.
Wood is considered one of the worst directors of all time. So so him being named after a cinematic school for arts is ironic. And it's like, "Oh, okay." But like I said, it's like a light chuckle, "Huh,"
Yeah.
and
I
that's
mean,
about it. There's no it's all meta, and there's no teeth to it. It feels safe in a way.
mm,
There's no, like, "I can't believe this." I mean, there's cursing in it, but there's no that I wanted that grit, and it was too safe. Un and even the whole situation of like, "Oh, we haven't spoken to each other in 15 years." We never got to see what made them not talk. It's all off screen.
mm,
It's
yeah.
all off screen. Like, "Oh, we split up at this date and time, like, 15 years ago." Like, you guys were together for, like, 30 plus years after that, and then one thing happens. I understand what happened, but what one character thinks happened and is proven right later. And then they go into a whole situation. He gets mad about it, and then He comes right back and goes, "Yeah, sorry about that. I forgive you. I literally didn't do anything. Well, I forgive you for that too." I'm like, "What? What? What? That's what we were all." And then there's a twist later that reveals that, oh yeah, so that the thing happened, and you're like, "What? That could have been something. You could have had that in the middle of the movie.
Mm.
Add some like tension in the damn thing."
Does that happen during, like, they reveal that twist at the credits or something, or
Yeah.
okay, I kinda, because the credits was going on, I kinda left. I was like,
Okay.
"Okay, it's."
Yeah. If you want, I can spoil it, but I'll let
No,
you
you just, yeah, just let me know afterwards,
I'll let
but
you know
yeah.
afterwards. But yeah, no, they do actually talk about it after the credits, in the after credits, and I'm like, why would you
Oh,
wait for that in the after credits? When wouldn't that be a main point of the movie? That
mm,
would be like a main the mid turn in the movie, the downward turn before the rising climax. You
mm.
do okay, this is we're at our lowest point, and we this twist got revealed, and it's going crazy, and I don't know how to handle these people. And characters kind of show up in this movie and just leave. I don't know if you noticed it.
Like, when they're like, they try to do the mix of, like, having some cameo guests plus the old
Yeah.
cast to kinda come in.
Yeah, like,
Is
that's fine.
yeah.
I didn't mind that, but specifically, Carrie Goldman plays Hope Faith, who is, like, the daughter of the previous original manager. She brings someone else along who's a promoter, and he played by Chris Edison as a Simon, and he's this, like, scummy piece of crap who doesn't care. Not only does he not care about music, he he can't recite any music at all. And you're
Mm,
like, okay, that could be interesting. He clearly is disdained the entire time, but he's promoting it because for reasons, because he just wants to, I guess, because he thinks it's an interesting experiment. I'm like, are we gonna do anything with that? No, he just doesn't like music. I'm like,
mm.
oh,
And I guess, when we talk about bringing more of the modern elements into the
right.
movie of music, he kinda represents that of,
He does.
like, he tells them to dance like K-pop stars because that's what's hot right now.
Yes, like why would as a promoter, why would you it makes no sense. He also tries to make an acapella rap group, which is the funniest thing in the entire thing.
Mm,
Okay, that's in the credits as well.
okay,
All like the stuff like that you left is brought up in the credits. I'll talk about
okay.
that later, but he does bring up that thing. It, it the entire movie feels like okay, I was trying to understand what this movie's trying to be the
Mm,
entire time, and about almost to the way of the end, I went, oh, I understand what this is. This is Rob Reiner. This isn't a sequel to Spinal Tap. This is a This is a goodbye farewell tour to these characters.
mm,
Rob Reiner is saying a goodbye. Christopher Guest, Michael McGean, Harry Shearer, they're going, all right, these are our characters. We've had these characters for so long. They've been a part of us. Uh, we're going to say goodbye and one last hurrah. And it's a little schmaltzy. Not much is really happening, but we're going to do one last big concert. And for once, things are kind of going to work out. And I'm
mm,
like, okay, if it ends in a traditional way and then this way, I at least can give it that. I was like, okay, well, it was not what I was expecting, but oh well. But then the ending happens, and I'm like, oh, well, then you just wasted my time
mm.
because the
So you
ending completely negates the whole buildup of what you were trying to do. That in a weird way, I
mm.
don't know how you felt about the ending.
I thought what happens at the end during the concert was kind of funny, and what winds up happening
Sure.
to them, that was a
Mhm.
little kind of funny, I think.
Mhm.
Like you said, the whole stuff taken off screen of why they broke up. I mean, I don't know. Is that supposed to be a reference to sometimes bands break up and there's like this in
Sure, but it felt like
the
there was a
reason why?
lot more to it than that.
Mm.
Like,
So I don't
not
know.
just saying what's in it, of course, but why have that off screen?
Yeah.
Why
So,
not that be so much more of a focus?
mm, because like, yeah, between the tension between the two of them,
Yeah.
I don't know why that wasn't
Why
more
even
of the.
have it at all?
Yeah.
It's to the point where like, well, why even have this? They could have just said, "Oh, we haven't spoken because" it literally could have been anything. They
Just
should have made
life.
it
Yeah.
stupidly simple. They should have made it like ridiculously simple. You know what you did? You used my hair dye at this point in time, and they're like, you knew whatever. I didn't use your head. You use if you're gonna have it be that innocuous and it be so easily what hand waved and like I forgive you, then you might as well. That's the joke, where
Mm,
it's like you don't touch a rocker's head on. You don't talk. You don't touch my stuff. If
mm,
they're like something stupid, super simple, where you're like, what? You haven't spoken to this guy for 15 years because of that? And then at the very end, it's like, well, I forgive you. Oh, okay. And so it's like how weirdly temperamental they are. That would have been like, okay, that's kind of funny. But then why not have that halfway in the movie? It doesn't matter. That whole thing didn't matter. The weird thing about the ending to me is it feels like a half cock,
mm,
because if you want to have the schmaltzy ending, go all the way with it. You've already come this far. Just have the big concert, have the schmaltzy ending, and then everyone's kind of out, and then the thing whatever happens, and you're like, oh no, and we got to pay it, but we had a great concert and people want more, but we only had it for one contract, but we also something happened in the concert, but it's all right, but it's a schmaltzy, it's a great ending, and like, oh well, maybe we'll do something, I don't know, maybe we'll do that, I'm not so sure, and you're like, kind of leave it on a okay, well, I didn't need the sequel, but at least it was like seeing these characters one more time, or uh you without spoiling it, something more dramatic happens and you go for a black comedy ending that completely is the inverse to the ending of the original, and you tie it up full circle.
mm.
And if you went that route, it's oh, I may not like this, but it make the reason you were building up to a schmaltzy ending, and then you kind of pull the rug out from under it, so you can, because you've kind of hinted about that in the very beginning, it would make more sense. But because you kinda had something happen and it didn't go all the way with it, it feels half done, feels half baked. It's
Mm,
like you kinda tried to have your cake and in it too, and it you just kinda go with "So what was the point of this again?"
yeah. And comedy sequels are hard. I mean,
Oh,
they're
extremely hard.
I mean, I can't really think of really great comedy. I mean, maybe there's a few, like, really g
Very, very few. There are more bad comedy sequels than there are good comedy sequels. Like,
mm,
the most okay to mediocre world one was Wayne's World 2.
mm,
That's, like, the most okay sequel to the original Wayne's World,
yeah.
and it's not a bad movie, it's okay. It's not terrible, and that's the best you can kinda hope for a comedy sequel. Naked Gun is the only ones that really pulled that off.
Yeah, I'd
All 3
say
Naked Guns are great.
21 Jump Street does a really great
21
job.
Jump Street 1 and 2, yeah.
That does a great the sequel is really great. I would kinda say
The
that
sequel's
with
actually almost better than the first one in some ways.
yeah, so but it's
It's
tough
super rare.
to pull off a really great comedy sequel because the stuff that was great about the first one and laughed about it, then you try to kind of like, okay, do you repeat the same kind of thing
Right.
again or the scenario or like how are you going to mix it up again and put these characters in a new situation that's going to be equally, if not more funny?
But if you do something too alien, then it's not really a sequel.
Yeah.
It's a
Um,
hard balancing act. It's,
yeah.
sequels are almost always the same but different. That's usually the safest bet, is the same but different, but even then, that has to have the fundamental understanding of what made the first movie good in the first place and trying to recapture that while also doing something slightly different.
Yeah.
Uh, Adventurous sequels take what made the first one work and then naturally progress it, but that's incredibly hard, which is why even good sequels to begin with are hard to do in any genre.
Mm, yeah. So, I mean, that's already a daunting task.
Yeah,
All these years later, a sequel, plus it's a comedy sequel. Like
yeah,
that's also something there. I mean, most of this movie is like I said, I mean, if you want just
mhm,
more Spinal Tap, if that's what you want, then maybe this is for you there.
yeah,
I was talking to Conan about it. He says like even if this is the worst movie ever for him, he still at least has the original Spinal Tap. Like that's
yeah.
always gonna be there for
Oh,
him.
yeah, the original's
Um
never going away.
so that'll always be a classic. You can't change that. Um, me, I'm not a humongous Spinal Tap fan, but I do love the movie. I do like This Is Spinal Tap, and I think it is a great comedy. I recognize the genius of that. And then with the sequel, it's just like, yeah, like we said, it's just kind of okay. It's just mediocre there.
Mhm.
There's some decent chuckles in it. But then it's, kind of also you got these cameos that come in, like Paul McCartney. I mean, he has some good bits in it.
I
Uh,
mean, yeah, I was like, "Oh my god, Paul McCartney."
yeah, and then there's Elton John that comes in it. He's kind of got a decent bit for a
Does a
bit, but
great the great song bit that they do, even though it's kind of nothing. I was happy just honestly, if they just made an album and didn't even make a full sequel and just said the end continues with an album, I would have bought the album.
mm,
They could
okay.
have just made a album and just had like some tracks with them talking back and forth on the album, like inserted tracks in between it, like some albums had. I'm like, oh, that would have been fine with me.
Mm, yeah,
Released on Spotify, release CDs, whatever.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe if they release the Blu-ray for this, maybe the commentary would be funny.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
commentary would be funny.
maybe they'll maybe they
If they
can
do it
talk.
in character, that'd be great.
Yeah,
You might get better material of them being in character than they did in this movie.
yeah. So for me, I mean, it's just kind of a plain stream it for me. For all that. What about you there? Final thoughts,
This
please.
is the definition of the word stream it. If stream it and rental and you're just going out and grabbing something, this movie doesn't destroy the my worst fear was that it would destroy the legacy of the pre of Spinal Tap. It doesn't do that at all. So thank goodness for that. Uh I wasn't mad that I saw it, but I did go, it's okay. I don't know why I went to the theater to see it, but it's good. It's fine. It kind of repeats the same beats pretty much, but not as energetic or enthusiastically. But there's clearly a passion and production there, and some production, I would say, not a lot. And there's some jokes that made me chuckle. The music itself is good, and if you're I'm more interested in the possible album release than anything, or a commentary about it more than the movie itself, or the riff tracks for it, I should say. But the movie itself is fine. It's definitely stream it worthy, and that's about as much praise as I can give it.
Mm, okay. So yeah.
Yeah,
Two
wasn't
just
a
fine.
bad movie by any means. Just not like
I think it's about as maybe good as you could hope for, like
Yeah,
I
I
said, a
was about
comedy
to say
sequel in
that.
a movie all these years later. It's probably about as good as you could hope
Yeah,
for there.
it didn't do anything to destroy the old one. It did its own thing, and that's the best you can really hope for, I guess.